Hey guys, it's Mike here, and welcome to another video I'm going to be bringing you today that is going to be discussing the pros and the cons of the Tournament of Power thus far. And today is going to be a special video because I am not only going to be giving my own thoughts, but in addition to that, I am also going to be displaying the thoughts of the community. And I'm going to be doing this on my Twitter as well as on my YouTube as well through the YouTube community tab, which I have to say I'm really happy that YouTube added this because, you know, like, it's so much easier for me now to be able to reach you guys through text and to see your various thoughts in text form as well. You know, it doesn't always have to be me, you know, uploading a video. You guys can actually check out polls. You could do so many things on here now that you couldn't before, so that's definitely a plus I would have to say for YouTube. Now, as far as the pros and cons of the Tournament of Power thus far, I have read a lot of your comments on my own videos, as well as sampled some of these thus far, and really I have to say that, you know, there are certainly a mixed variety of pros and cons for this tournament thus far. And that's one of the things that's really interesting about the tournament as well, because, you know, there are so many different opinions. You know, for some people, the power scaling, the continuity, and, you know, some of the ways that characters have interacted with one another that might not necessarily always be in character, I guess you could say, is like a horrible atrocity. And for some people, you know, basically the power scaling works. These characters are far more developed than they ever have been in the past, especially, you know, some characters that haven't really been utilized as well in the past. And, you know, it's not really as detrimental to them because there's so many other, like, pros that are influencing them in a positive way. Whereas, again, some people are being a little bit negative. You know, I know I've had my share of that a little bit on my channel. So let's get into some of the thoughts on here, and I will also respond to some of that. And I asked, what would you say are the biggest pros and cons of the Tournament of Power thus far? Okay, so with some of these names, I'm probably going to butcher them, so, you know, I might not read everyone's names on here, but starting off with a Jolly Green Giant with a picture of the Fresh Prince of Namek. And I always love that picture. For pros, there are none. For cons, tons of ass pulls. So, again, as I said, you know, some people are going to just say that there's no pros at all to this to this tournament. And some people are going to say that, you know, like I said, there is a lot of ass pulls in this tournament. That's something that pretty much everyone is acknowledging. You know, Goku gets a brand new transformation. Roshi and Krillin and all these people are so much stronger than they really should be. So really, it is. I can definitely see that. Okay, Mark Northern Ireland football ground hopping. That maybe that sounds perfectly normal there. Pros. Master Roshi was back. Gohan is strong again, and there are brilliant fights. Yeah, Master Roshi, him coming back and him having his moments that he's had so far. You know, setting aside some of really the, I guess, horrible scaling involved in some of what he did, like with Frost, for example, and Ganos, and etc. Master Roshi getting some of these moments has really been great thus far, you know, because Master Roshi, one of my favorite characters of the original Dragon Ball anime, and then when it comes to Dragon Ball Z, he doesn't really do anything the whole show. It's very disappointing. I believe I may have done a Master Roshi wasted potential video. If I haven't, I guess you guys should look out for that in the future. But, you know, it might not cover Dragon Ball Super because, you know, that's one of the pros of Super so far in the Tournament of Power. Roshi gets to actually do something. Does it make sense that he's really one of the strongest out of 10 in the entire universe? No, but at least he's cool. And Universe 7 is way too strong. Another thing I see a lot of people say, there will be some repeating, you know, pros and cons on here. Universe 7, they really, even though, like, Goku and Vegeta seem like they're struggling against so many different people, you know, because of how suppression works, they're basically, you know, it makes everyone look like fodder, basically. You know, somebody made a great comment, I don't know if it's in here or on another video of mine, and they said it's not the tournament of power, it's the tournament of fodder. So, I could see that, I could definitely see that as well. And negative Espada, you know, that's, I assume, a Bleach reference. Cons, not much universe versus universe lore. It's just every universe versus 7, which defeats the purpose of the Battle Royal. I mean, yeah, like, one of the biggest problems thus far I would have with how the tournament has really played out is the fact that in Universe 7's case, so many people are jumping in to attack them. I mean, how many times are you going to see a universe get eliminated by these people before you're just like, maybe we shouldn't keep attacking them? Like, literally, so many people just keep going after Goku because it's Goku. He started the tournament. He's the strongest fighter on Universe 7. But it's like, why don't you just leave Goku alone? Go fight the weak guys over there from, I don't know, whatever universes have been erased, like every 5 of them so far. Go fight those guys. Leave Goku, the robots, and Jiren alone, and just go do what you're gonna do. And then come back when they're super weakened, when Goku has negative 10 trillion stamina, because he should already have no stamina, but he keeps going Super Saiyan Blue, and then beat them. But then again, they have Android 17 and 18, so yeah, I don't know. Universe 7's looking really strong right now, especially since 6 went out. I was kind of pulling for 6 maybe, just for some subversions, just for Universe 7 to not automatically win this thing, but I don't know about that now. Well, at least hopefully Gohan will eliminate Jiren. Everyone's gonna be like, Gohan Super Saiyan 2 level, Mike, what are you talking about? Whatever. Pro, Jiren versus Hit. Ultra Instinct Goku versus Jiren. Yeah, very awesome fights, I have to say. I've rewatched Ultra Instinct Goku versus Jiren a number of times now, and I definitely really like that fight. I don't know if it's the best fight in Super so far, but, you know, I'll let you guys argue about that in the comments. Goku's Beef Gone Thought Wave. And then, of course, Kefla and her shitty fanbase. So, and Gohan gets no shine. I don't know about that part. Gohan has eliminated 2 universes. So, you know, the guy who doesn't like violence and the guy who doesn't like to fight basically is responsible for the extinction of 2 entire universes with trillions of lives, I assume. Man, is that shine for Gohan, or is that really just, like, a horrible thing that happened? Like, is it, like, abuse? I don't know. I feel like under different circumstances, how Gohan's been treated isn't really the best parenting, but that's another thing. We all know Piccolo's the better dad. Anyway, Toon Trooper. It's a lot fun to watch. There are still some calm moments, or some calm character moments. Frieza and Ultra Instinct was handled properly. Yeah, Frieza has been one of the best parts of the arc so far. Cons, too much Goku. A lot of wasted potential. Universe 4, for example. Yep. And Jiren is reading more. Wow. Jiren doesn't have a personality yet in the anime. It's way too long. I mean, Jiren has a little bit of a personality in the manga, but I think a lot of people are really just drawn to how Jiren was literally drawn in that one panel by Toyotaro. You know, showing him from behind, like, literally every female actress on every single, like, action-based poster now, which really is starting to annoy me, but, you know, that's probably just me. Pros, it's almost over. Cons, it's not over yet. So it's pretty funny that some people are leaving some funny comments like this. And a couple more I will, you know, check in with the live chat, which you guys could see all in the comments section. It is, you know, there's a lot of people giving their thoughts in here. Cons, the concept, or the pros, the concept, and the cons are the execution. Well, I mean, you could say that about a lot of stuff in Dragon Ball, but the other way around as well. Like in Dragon Ball Z, you could say that the cons are the concept, and the pros are the execution. I mean, who would have thought a giant cricket man who eats androids would be arguably the best villain in Dragon Ball Z? I don't know. I guess that Torishima didn't think that at the time, but, you know, that's be nor there. And Gardetrace, I think that's a Garden Voyeur reference from Pokemon. Pros, not a damn thing. Cons, the characters don't seem to care that they'll be erased. Yeah, except for like Universe 4, they haven't really been fighting it. They just seem to take it. It's weird. Universe 7 has too many fighters remaining. I mean, that's probably going to change soon. I don't give a fuck about the other universes. Too much jobbers, certain characters. There's a lot more cons on here than pros, I'll have to say. But really, like, yeah, well, obviously, Dragon Ball Z finale spoils it. I mean, that is one of the things I've been saying since Super began. You know, if Super took place after Z and just erased GT and just did its own thing, then there would be tons of tension. There would be, well, I mean, aside from the Dragon Ball still existing, there would be a lot of, you know, nobody would know what would happen next. But with Dragon Ball Super, we're watching a tournament where everyone's going to be erased, but we know Universe 7 is still there. You know, even Toyotaro has said Super is going to go up to the end of Z. So, you know, we know Oob is going to show up. We know all this stuff is still happening, more or less. I'm sure they'll retcon some things here and there. But we know Universe 7 isn't going to lose either. So, you know, when it comes down to it, that's one of the biggest flaws of not only Dragon Ball Super, but prequels in general. Like, we knew Darth Vader was going to turn to the dark side. I mean, if you didn't know Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader, I don't know where you've been for the past 30 years, but the fact of the matter is that, like, the Hobbit trilogy, you know, we know what's going to happen in Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings was better done to begin with, so, same situation. And it's, you know, it's more about the journey than the destination with Dragon Ball Super, I guess. Okay, as for the live chat now, let's take a look. And, okay, so I don't think most of these fights have a strong emotional narrative running through them, and this is because we know little to nothing about them. Who would give a crap if Goku is fighting for the sake of his friends and family besides wanting to become stronger, and Jiren, if he had something willing to fight for, like with his newborn child, for example, fights would be interesting, compelling, and just that the writers don't offer you enough to care about the characters. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that, because the thing is that, you know, like, one of the big cons I've said in the past about Dragon Ball Super in the Tournament of Power would have to be the fact that we really don't see, I guess, you know, enough from these fighters before we actually see them go into the tournament. So we saw with Universe 7, you know, a lot of build-up for, like, I guess, Gohan training and them meeting different members of the you know, for the tournament and everything like that. But we don't really see enough of, you know, the other universes. Like, we see some of Universe 6, but like I said before, unfortunately, it's spent on Kale and Caulifla, you know, which, I mean, we all know how I feel about Kale and Caulifla, all right? I've done videos about that in the past. Some people love them. Some people agree with me. But, you know, that's just how it is. Like, they could have done so much more with Universe 4 and all these other teams that are, like, teaming up so that they could, you know, actually, like, have some kind of narrative running between them. We could have seen them practicing strategy. We could have, like, been teased more of their cool abilities, but instead they decided to just throw the tournament on, you know, just only tease the characters that are basically what we've already seen time and time again, like with Kale and Caulifla and Kaba even. And I liked Kaba in the last tournament, but, like, if they were just going to turn Kaba into a total wimp that really just, like, accomplishes nothing, he goes Super Saiyan 2, big whoop, everyone else did that already, you know, like, if they're going to do that, why even bother focusing on them? I'd rather see more of Casserole rescuing cats from a tree, you know, I'd rather see him invading a planet and defeating, like, all the villains and stuff, and seeing his awesome strategy, you know, build him up like Batman, you know, there's so many things they could have done before the tournament began, but they did not do that. But hey, I guess we got to see, you know, we got to see the great priest creating the ring, and then Zeno handed him a piece of candy. That was funny, right? Yeah. Okay. Jiren has a better introduction in the manga. I might just be biased towards superheroes, or I just hate how Jiren is the most popular character in the series right now. I did like Jiren's intro in the manga, yeah. Like, he's actually given a personality, whereas in the anime, like, you hear some of his personality once people start to, like, attack him. He's like, that's rubbish. Get that trash out of here. I'm stronger than time. Whatever, you know, like, that's still not really a personality, though. That's basically him just being a kind of a jerk. So, I don't know. You know, it's cool that he also flew, like, through space into another planet, I guess. You know, it's very Superman-esque, but, you know, Superman would destroy Jiren in a fight one-on-one with negative 1/1 trillionth of his power because, you know, Jiren is island level or something, like all these people who downplay Dragon Ball Super would say, you know. Goku as a Super Saiyan God's destroying the universe with Beerus through a chain reaction, and yet, you know, I guess that Goku has Ultra Instinct, can only destroy a planet. Oh yeah, that makes total sense, guys. Don't worry about it. I mean, don't worry about it. Screw attack, whatever. But yeah. 17 was able to hear 16's speech in Cell's stomach, which explains why he took his footsteps to protect nature. I mean, I guess. Like, I just think that Toriyama wanted to, like, have him be in some kind of completely different place from where he started, you know? Like, I doubt Toriyama thought of any of that. Like, we have the scene where Cell is using 17's voice in order to try and, like, take 18, you know, to absorb her, but it didn't really work, you know. It's not the same thing. Okay, so let's also check some of them on Twitter, because over on Twitter, at LSM Mike, I also gave the same question, and I'm going to check out some of the answers right now. Okay, the first from Aaron Van Duyn. Again, butcher last names sometimes. You should watch me play Pokemon. Like, I cannot believe the pronunciations of some of those when I actually watch the shows. But anyway, pros. Characters like Gohan, 17, and 18 getting focus after so long. And cons, still too much Goku time. I mean, you know, if it were Goku time for real, GT, Gohan, 17, and 18... yeah, they wouldn't really get much shine either. So, yeah, it's really cool to see Gohan 17, 18 actually doing something. You know, 18 got to beat somebody who, you know, realistically should be way stronger than her in the ultimate form, and, like, punched a hole right through her head, even though Vegeta is a Super Saiyan, was just fighting her. But, again, let's not focus on power scaling. And, yeah, Gohan. He's great. Give him some more shine. Especially Toyotaro. Like, Toyotaro was like, oh, Boo's asleep. I guess we have to use Gohan. Really, Toyable? Come on. Go back to drawing your, you know, your fanfics about Super Saiyan Infinity Krillin and Super Saiyan 4 Goku banging Android 18. Or whatever crap you drew before. I'm just kidding. A lot of people are going to be so triggered right now, though. I'll tell you that. Okay, biggest pro. Seeing Frieza in another context and how they write his character, even though they should show, or they can show it more. Yeah, Frieza's been great so far in the tournament, like I've said. Biggest con, it's not a real battle royal. It's just mainly Universe 7 defeating Universe 4, or universe by universe in a very linear way. I don't know about linear, but yeah, it's like, if you stretch it out over the entire timeline, then yeah, it's basically what's going down. Universes, or introduces all these new characters, but barely any of them are interesting, just fodder for the main cast. Yeah, somebody's already, we've talked about that already. Good fights, good development for Gohan. Yeah, again, Gohan does get some better treatment. How Krillin, Tien, and Piccolo went out was stupid, and too much Goku and Vegeta. I don't know if there's enough Vegeta in this arc so far. Like, he's gotten a little bit of screen time, I have to say. Like, he had that cool moment with Kaba, but again, you know, how many episodes in a row does Goku get all these fights to himself? What's, you know, Vegeta and Toppo, they fight, you know, mostly off screen. Very disappointing. Okay, he fought the entire, oh wait. Well, that's a whole comment thread. I'm not even going to get into that. Pros. Many Universe 7 characters get great character-centric episodes. Again, we've talked about Master Roshi. We've talked about Gohan. We've talked about, obviously, Goku. And cons, too many fighters, job too fast. Yep, Universe 7 presented too OP. So, really what I'm gathering from a lot of people is that there's a lot of characters that the Tournament of Power thus far has introduced. However, many or most of them really are not fleshed out enough. You know, they really are not developed enough, and they basically are, you know, fodder. They're jobbers, like I said before, the tournament of fodder. So really, when you think about it, you know, they give us 80 fighters in a ring, you know, 70. Most of the 70 are new. You know, we have some from Universe 6, and then we saw some in the Zen exhibition match with Universe 9, you know, the Sonic Trio, basically, the Trio de Dangers. And, you know, even they weren't really that interesting. Like, the most interesting fighters from Universe 7 were, or Universe 6, actually, were Frost, Hit, what I would say is the most interesting, and Kaba. And then when they get around to the new tournament, it comes down to Hit, Frost, Kaba, who really is diminished in every literal way. And then Kale and Caulifla, I would say, are interesting, but I wouldn't say in a positive way. So really, when it comes down to that, I would have to say that, you know, everyone else so far, we got Jiren, who doesn't have a personality, but he's just super OP and a badass, you know, like he could beat anyone, I guess. He has God of Destruction level abilities. I don't know how. It's not like they've explained it to us. It's not like we've gotten literally anything about his backstory other than he's strong. And even Toppo, I'll say with Toppo, you know, Toppo, I feel like is also maybe done a little bit better in the manga so far, because with Toppo, I would say that, you know, he is actually still training to become the next God of Destruction, whereas the anime, I think they said he was. You know, I don't know if they're saying it's still going to happen. You know, he actually beat Goku in their fight, which I thought was kind of dumb because he just punches Goku in the balls and he sends him out of the ring. You know, but he still, they say he has God Ki in the manga. So they really do, they do show some things. I'll say that's a pro for the manga there, you know. So far, I feel like much of the intro for the manga to this tournament arc has kind of been weak. Like, just to be honest. You know, like, it was cool when we saw that fight between the Gods of Destruction. You know, Beerus looked pretty badass. He was using Ultra Instinct. But, you know, it basically was just like, oh, Zeno, oh, I guess it's too fast for us. It's too intense. We can't enjoy this. And then it wasn't even, you know, it wasn't even anything it amounted to. It basically was just a cool fight to see a cool fight, which many of the fights in the manga I feel like are kind of like that. Like, let's fight for a cool fight. Not that the anime doesn't do that too, but, you know, then we finally get to, you know, where they're actually building up some of the other universes. But with the anime, I'll say, they had this whole cool Zen exhibition match that was actually, you know, the fighters from our universe, where we built them up a little bit. We got to see an awesome fight with Majin Buu, which we probably won't get to see anything with Buu, I guess, in this arc in the manga because he's already asleep. You know, we got to see, like, good build-up for a lot of these characters, even though they didn't really show them training on screen like they really should have. I just feel like they're going to skim over way too much of that in the manga, and it seems like they already are. So, again, that's a con for the manga, and that's been one of my biggest cons for the manga the entire time, you know. People are always telling me how much superior the manga is, but when it comes to things that I really look for, or I really, like, care about, you know, with much of the story, much of these characters being developed, you know, not everything just coming down to Goku where he fights Zamasu on his own with his own mastered Super Saiyan Blue while Trunks looks like a wimp, you know, and it goes on for 27 chapters, like a Bleach freaking arc, you know, like, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend that the anime and the manga don't have both, you know, issues, but really, like, people need to stop pretending that the manga is so much better than the anime. Like, they really need to. And it's, you know, I can understand if you like it more, but you can't just sit there and be like, all the power scaling is perfect. Toyotaro fixes everything. He doesn't leave any plot holes. He writes all the story even better than the anime does. You can't say that because it's not true. Because so much he skims over, cuts out, and he's done it since the Battle of God's arc. You know, back when the manga was supposed to just be something that supports the anime. But now I guess it's just its own thing where he changes things for no reason. I guess for fun, you know. And I'm not going to say the art isn't good. It really is. But really, like, you know, I don't know. In many ways, the Dragon Ball Super manga is just esoteric. It's cool. It's something you could read. I like to have it on my shelf. But really, it's, you know, like, at the end of the day, the anime is really going to trump it in pretty much every way. It's the movies are what started everything. You know, they kicked everything back off for Dragon Ball. You know, it wasn't Toriyama coming out of retirement and drawing a brand new Dragon Ball or manga. It was basically him working on the movies, you know, and then they started a series from the movies, you know, and then the manga is there to promote it. So the anime, even though it might not be consistent, the animation can be pretty bad sometimes. It's not as streamlined as the manga. Again, these are all pros for the manga. In many ways, it's going to really be the end-all be-all, you know, like, especially internationally, because, you know, at least in the United States, I'm going to say the vast majority of fans are not going to read the manga. They're just going to watch the show. So, you know, again, as a hardcore fan, I collect both. I'm going to like both for their own reasons, but I really just don't think there's this big disparity that a lot of people are saying. But again, maybe I should digress because this is about the Tournament of Power, not just the anime versus the manga. Let's not really get into some big debate about that, even though I probably already kicked off that and caused a lot of people to be triggered right now. But anyway, I will get into more of this. I believe, did I read Victor Perez's tweet? I'll read that right now. Pros, everyone getting some shine. The animation this last stretch has been pretty great. Cons, lack of tension. This arc is supposed to have tension. Having Universe 7 beat 45 people really does that, and lack of actual story. I mean, there is story, but it's more like wrestling story. You know, it's like a story being told during the fight itself. So I'm not entirely sure I would say that there is no story. But, you know, there definitely is lacking in some ways, yeah. Okay, Evil Platypus. I have to read this one. You know, if you have a funny name, you know, that's a great way to get me to read your tweet. I'll just say that. As shallow as that is. Pros. Characters who were pushed aside are getting time to shine. Yep, as we talked about, it's pretty good with character utilization. Way better than Dragon Ball GT in just one arc. It's pretty crazy. Although this arc, you know, is going to be longer than GT at this rate. So, you know, maybe that's not that great. Think about it actually like this, in this perspective, people. The Tournament of Power is now longer than the Dark Tournament from Yu Yu Hakusho. Alright? Now, that's up to you guys to put those comparisons side by side. Maybe I'll do a video on that at some point, but just this tournament is longer than the Dark Tournament from Yu Yu Hakusho, which itself is really looked upon by many people as the pinnacle of tournaments in shonen anime and shonen in general. So, you know, Hunter x Hunter has some pretty great tournaments too, but, you know, that's the Tournament of Power. That's the piece Peace de la Resistance. Trying to speak French there, and it's really not going too well. Okay. Edelweiss, Pro, Ultra Instinct, background characters getting their shine, some great new characters, some good fights. Frieza, the art and animation is very good overall. In cons, a lot of stuff feels wasted. The whole Battle Royale concept, the rules, and many characters. Yeah, what I would have to say is that in terms of the animation, especially, you really nailed it because, you know, I'm not going to say that Dragon Ball Super is the best animated just anime out there right now. I mean, a lot of the top animes, I feel like, use too much actual 3D CGI, which even the movies and, you know, I guess the episode with Ribrianne got a little bit into. But I will say that, like, I've been rewatching the English dub of Dragon Ball Super because I do watch both, as it's been airing on Toonami, and it just looks so much better in the current arc than it did back then. Like, even in the Universe 6, like, you know, there's some great episodes that look really great, especially the fight between Goku versus Hit and, you know, the Vegeta fights, but, man, they really ramped it up. So one of the things is, you know, I really don't know if I want Dragon Ball Super to go like another 100 episodes or something like that. You know, I'm not too sure that's what's going to happen. But just imagine if they keep going this rate, like what the animation is going to be like. Okay, we got a $5 donation from Badass Thug. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. If anyone else wants to donate, it is down here for the super chat, but you don't have to. It is entirely up to you. Does Namekian fusion kill some of the Namekian over time? They slowly fade into the consciousness of... Oh, okay. So basically, what you're asking me is, when someone merges into another person, do they cease to be as a consciousness over time or even instantly? Now, that's a really interesting question because it seems like it is a little bit contradictory, you know, because the reason I say that is when when Nail and Piccolo are first fusing, I believe in the manga, Nail basically just says to Piccolo, it's just going to be my power that's going to go into you. I'm just basically going to you're going to serve as a catalyst, and it's going to make you stronger. You know, I won't be sharing a room with you, basically, like the anime, I believe, says. And it seems like it's less about him retaining his individuality or consciousness even when he's within Piccolo. And with Kami, it might be a little bit different, but in some ways it seemed to imply that the consciousness would either meld into a new consciousness, like the nameless Namekian. I am no longer Kami nor Piccolo. I am a Namekian who long since forgot his name. You know, I am the nameless Namekian. However, what I will say is that I am not entirely sure that's what they're going with now, because we just saw in the episode where Piccolo fought the other Namekians, we saw Nail and Kami within, like, his mental plane, I guess you could say, within his mental palace, as Sherlock would call it. So I don't know if it seems like maybe they just retain around. Maybe they're like Force Ghost and they just stay within you, or like the Avatar, you know, they stay within you and they give you information. So that's, it's a pretty cool concept, although it must get really annoying for Piccolo. Okay. Super Gado Satsu, $5. Thank you very much. Yo Laughingstock, what's your opinion on Hit jobbing hard against Jiren and the squandered hype of Jiren? Well, I actually did a video called Why Jiren Should Have Stayed in the Tournament. And I basically said that, you know, I felt that Hit should have been one of, like, the final four. Like, I even did a video a little while back called The Final Four in the Tournament of Power. And what I had said was that I believed that Hit would have been one of the last people out. You know, I guess for the sake of hyping up Jiren and for trying to subvert our expectations, which Toriyama is, you know, renowned for subversion, that makes it come down to, like, you know, basically Hit is kind of fodder in the way that, like, every other villain in Dragon Ball are to the next villain. You know, Majin Buu has gotten beaten up multiple times. you know, by the next villain, basically, you know, and that's also happened with Deborah was a stand-in for Super Perfect Cell. You know, he got destroyed by Majin Buu and turned into candy and eaten, which would have happened to Cell all the same. So, you know, Frieza gets beaten by Trunks, who has been beaten up really bad by these unstoppable androids. So it just keeps going like that. So I guess that's what they were doing. It's still a disappointment, but, you know, when it comes to Jiren's hype, I don't know. There's still a tournament left. He still can just step up and do something. Is he actually going to? I'm not entirely sure, but we're going to have to see. Okie dokie. Okay, Badass Slug again for $2. Thank you. The next fusion we need is a double fusion Gogeta. Sure. I mean, I don't see how that would be possible unless they actually get into like a Crisis on Infinite Earths kind of like parallel universe where we have Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta fusing with Super Saiyan or Ultra Instinct Vegito, and then that would make the internet explode and explode in their pants, but that's something else entirely. But okay, let me get back to the YouTube questions real quick. Or the YouTube responses. Let me see. Pros, Gohan's return. You know, I'm always going to read that. Cons, Universe 7 has faced no real adversity, and Roshi did way too much work. Aspals for days. Goku's infinite plot armor. I mean, Goku... Man, until this arc, I really didn't know that Goku could suppress literally any of his forms, be like 1,000 times weaker than his base. Or that he could just, you know, generate stamina anytime he wanted to without eating or sleeping or taking a sensu bean. I mean, the entire rest of the franchise, you know, they had me convinced with the entire rest of the franchise that Goku could not generate stamina on his own, or, you know, that Super Saiyan Blue you couldn't use when you have, like, no power left. But, man, Goku, he keeps pulling out these new powers. He's so awesome. Man, I love Goku. I'm sorry, I was just reading off the script of a Goku fanboy. Yeah, Goku has a lot of plot armor. I don't know about as much as Gohan when Gohan went Super Saiyan 2, but then again, you know, the second Goku died, everything went down for Gohan, so I don't know. I don't know. Every scene with Jinzo Negan, Junanago, and Juhachigo, I think that's how it's spelled. Probably. I mean, it's not like it's originally spelled in English to begin with. I mean, it's spelled in Arabic numerals, so 18 and 17. The whole Hit versus Jiren fight, I'm not a Hit fanboy. Also, Goku getting too much screen time. Yeah, I know he's the main character. You know, I know Goku's the main character, and I really, you know, I really do view him as being the main character. You know, I loved Goku in Dragon Ball. I loved him in most of Dragon Ball Z. You know, when he comes back in the Buu saga, it starts to get annoying. You know, Goku he can be a great character, but, you know, sometimes you gotta realize that when your show continues to evolve, when your franchise has evolved, that really you are going to, as a result, have to focus more on other characters. You know, you're going to have to give some other people their moment in the sun. And when you keep focusing too much on Goku and there's all these other characters that people are really fans of, then you are going to have an issue. Okay, so I'll read this one first. Surprise, motherfucker! I still haven't seen Dexter, I'm sorry, but I really appreciate this super awesome donation. That's probably the biggest one I have gotten so far, and again, very appreciative of it, and thank you very much. And I will go up to this one with a question. Will all the fodder characters in the tournament do, you think, if Yamcha were there, he could have knocked someone out, or do you think he would pull a Dr. Rhoda? I mean, it would be pretty funny, and this is terrible at this point because we're kicking a dead horse with Yamcha, but, like, it would be really funny if Yamcha was, like, the first one eliminated from the tournament. Like, imagine if Yamcha goes to punch somebody, he just trips and falls out of the ring. Like, That'd be hilarious. And it would be, you know, Yamcha should be, like, so much of a boss in real life. Like, especially because he's a baseball player. He's got to be the best baseball player to ever live, right? Like, there's no way that, you know, Mickey Mantle, that that Rodriguez, and that so many of these other baseball players combined, you know, they would never be able to beat even, you know, one game of Yamcha. Basically every single time he steps up, home run, home run, home run. Like, you could literally just have him bat for a team and catch all the balls, like, you know, just go back and forth, pitch, you know, he's gonna win. He doesn't even need a team. Damn, he should be a boss, but he's not. Everyone jokes about him and he keeps dying. Even his episode, he ended up in a hole. So Super Saiyan White is not a thing. You're right, it isn't. Okay. The biggest pro for him is Caulifla's rear end. Actually, Caulifla, I didn't realize Caulifla had a donkey. That's very interesting. That must have been one of those episodes that, you know, I just decided not to watch. That's a joke, because I have most certainly watched every episode of this show. Oh, man, it's tough sometimes. I don't know. Okay, pros. A lot of sexy fighting scenes so far and fan service. Okay, this is going to be a pretty long one, so bear with me. And Roshi. Cons, trashing characters like Tien, yep, so, you know, basically throwing them out of the ring when they shouldn't have been. Tien, literally just the guy that sacrificed himself for a person that would get one-shot by any Goku or Vegeta level character. Very true, and even though Goku has no stamina, he's just, you know, Super Saiyan Blue constantly. Piccolo, smartest character, gets beaten by a bug. I did a video about that, trust me. And the big fights are basically, you know, people just kicking the crap out of the main characters. I don't know. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it seems like Goku in Dragon Ball Super likes to get beat up, because why else would he keep going to these forms and holding back so much when he could just beat people in his base form? You know, like, oh, to test out their strength? They're weaker than your base Goku. What the hell is the point of testing them out? It's like when Goku goes to fight Jiren, and Krillin is like, well, Goku, you know, Goku's a master martial artist. He's testing just how strong Jiren's power is. You know, he is going to see just how well Jiren steps up. That's what a true martial artist does. It's like, Goku, you know this guy is stronger than your Super Saiyan Blue. What the hell is the point of fighting in those forms, you know? Or what, Jiren's just gonna stand there and, you know, move his head slightly to the side when you kick him? Like, what's the point? You're wasting energy, which apparently you have an infinite supply of, even though you're just supposed to run out of it. Like, I mean, Frieza blasted you one time and suddenly you have this much excess power? Ah, Goku. We're going to have to talk about this one day, Goku. You and I, we're going to have to sit down in this magical, non-existent world that you exist in. That might be erased soon. And we're going to have to talk about this. And why you're just making horrible decisions left and right. Okay, so let me read a couple more. And yeah, Frieza is another big one I've seen. So really, again, a lot of them are coming down to, you know, like I said before, character utilization is a big pro for this arc. You know, that's definitely one of the things I will say, as far as the Tournament of Power is concerned, that the character utilization is one of the best parts of this arc. You know, again, are we going to be seeing, how many arcs are we going to be seeing in Dragon Ball Z? For example, you know, to compare it to the previous show. How many arcs of Z do we see where Master Roshi, Tien, Piccolo, and all these characters step up in a big way, and they're actually, like, eliminating people? You know, they're actually making some sort of difference. Because, like, with Dragon Ball Z and the Namek Saga, Piccolo surpasses Goku at one point when he fuses with Nail, but then he still gets beaten by Frieza. You know, Piccolo surpasses Goku and Vegeta as Super Saiyans, but then again, he also gets eliminated by, or gets beaten by, the weakest form of Cell, you know. And the same thing happens with, you know, Tien. Tien is one cool moment in the Cell Saga where Tien steps up and he blasts Imperfect Cell in a hole, but it accomplishes nothing because everyone else acts like an idiot. And, you know, Master Roshi, again, did nothing through all of Dragon Ball Z. I mean, you know, the way they've made him seem powerful in Dragon Ball Super, I don't see why he couldn't have beaten some of these people that they were fighting. But, you know, like, Krillin has some moments in the Namek Saga. He has a little bit of moments in the Cell Saga, like when they're fighting in that filler episode and he knocks Cell through through, like, the side of a plane. But really, the Tournament of Power and Dragon Ball Super have really done a much better job with character utilization. Now, is it as good as, like, you know, Dragon Ball, the original one's character utilization? Is it, say, as good as Yu Yu Hakusho or Hunter x Hunter when it comes to that? Of course not. I'm not going to say that. But what I will say is that they certainly have given more characters time to shine. You know, and it might be fan service, like Master Roshi shouldn't be fighting Frost or any of these people. They should just power up and they would immediately leave. You know, they'd be done. Like, Jiren should stand up at the beginning of the tournament, go full power, and just powering up should eliminate 99.9% of the tournament of power. Okay, it should eliminate, let's say, 73 people. Okay, maybe even 70 if you want to just have 10 top people. That's it. Like, it should be that easy, but instead we get Master Roshi using 20 Mafubas in a row, which should have killed him the first time, you know, and then we get, like, stuff that doesn't make sense when you really think about it, but again, cool character moments. Roshi doing that awesome Kamehameha that basically killed him and telling people, you know, eat hard, play hard, train hard, you know, live well. You know, that was a great moment, and I guess Tien got to beat somebody, even though he eliminated himself stupidly in the process. So I will say with that, it's a positive. Again, as we could see here, there's some great art and some great animation that's happened compared to, like, the rest of Dragon Ball Super. And, you know, some of Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball, like, this has been some just excellent art that we've seen so far and excellent animation in some of these episodes. Not every episode looks great, but really since they brought in the new supervisor and the new person who's running Dragon Ball Super, it's really improved. But, you know, the cons, of course, the biggest cons for me, continuity, again. You know, that's a big thing I look for, not in Dragon Ball, just in Dragon Ball, but in, you know, almost every show I watch, whether it be, you know, anime, cartoons. Like, how well is this world established and how well does the writer follow the rules that he himself has created? Because even if it doesn't have to be, like, accurate to how the real world is, you're still creating your own universe with its own internal rules and logic. So, you know, as long as you, like, keep it, like, more, like, contained and you keep everything, like, solid and not, like, always shifting and always forgetting everything, you know. And I know that this is basically how Toriyama is. It's not like Dragon Ball or even Dragon Ball Z are perfect with that, but, you know, Dragon Ball Super, especially in this arc, has really kind of shifted dramatically when it comes to power scaling and continuity, which power scaling is just a small part of continuity. So really what I have to say is that, you know, they got to fix that. And also, you know, Kale and Caulifla, they were really a big problem, a big eyesore during this tournament. You know, for some people, they were eye candy, and they did have some great animated episodes, like when they fought against Goku. But really, they were the Jar Jar Binks of this arc. Really, probably the Jar Jar Binks of Super in general, you know. And there is a Jar Jar Binks of Dragon Ball Z, I'll tell you that. He first debuted in the Buu Saga. And surprisingly, it's not Majin Buu, even though he kind of talks like Jar Jar Binks. It's actually another incredibly annoying combination of characters that I will certainly talk about in a video someday. That, you know, longtime fans will probably know who I'm talking about. Just every time I watch the Buu Saga, it just makes me want to fast forward, or it just makes me just so irritated. And that's what I expect Kale and Caulifla to be. Like I said, when I watch the Namek arc of Dragon Ball Z, you know, and I see those episodes where Bulma has to, like, get a Dragon Ball from a crab, then, you know, I want to skip those episodes. That's basically what Kale and Caulifla are. They're the giant crab from Namek that Bulma has to get the Dragon Ball from. And once they're out of the way and once they're gone forever, they're great. You know, like everything's fun. Well, maybe not everything because horrible continuity, but still, you get the point. The fact of the matter is that there are certainly some cons to this arc. You know, some people don't like me mentioning cons at all. Some people don't like anyone mentioning cons at all. You know, they rebel if you do, but... well, not even rebel, they riot, you know, in a terrible way. But basically, you know, there are pros as well. I'm not going to say that I don't like anything about Super, and I've never said that I hate Super. That's one thing that a lot of people I feel like have a misconception about, because I don't hate Dragon Ball Super. In fact, I do enjoy the show. So, you know, if I really hated the show and I was so bored every single week, you think I'd be watching it? There's so many other shows and movies and things I could be watching. You know, the reason why I watch Dragon Ball Super, the reason why I'm still here, still talking about it, is because I love the franchise. I've been following it since I was a kid, and I'll probably follow it until it's all gone. You know, whether that's 20 reboots from now or whether it's gone when Toriyama just says it's done. You know, that's it. And that's basically how it's going to be. So anyway, guys, these have been the pros and cons from the Tournament of Power. Let me know your own thoughts down below for people who missed the stream. Again, thank you very much to Badass Thug and the other people who donated. I wish that YouTube had left that up there so I could thank everyone. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Again, you don't have to donate anything. You know, just being here, watching the video and commenting is, you know, certainly something I appreciate as well. But for anyone who does, I really appreciate it and I thank you very much. And as I always say, stick around because there's a lot more to come in the future.